Hey guys, welcome to the Childcare Directors Chair podcast. I'm your host, Erica Sacosio. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We have a very special guest with us today, Lizette Reed. But before we hop into today's topic, I would like to say thank you to all of our listeners. You guys are really helping our show grow so quickly, so I appreciate that. I know you all been telling your friends. Continue to tell your friends. I really just am so grateful for all of you. In particular, we have a couple really cool things I want to mention. Our new Buzzsprouts has a new feature on our episodes where you can send fan mail. So you can text me directly. You can ask me questions that we can cover on the show. Or if you just want to shout out and say, hey, you want to talk, that would be awesome. There are 3 cities in particular that I would like to personally invite to reach out to me. If you are a listener from Land O'Lakes, Wisconsin, please send me fan mail. I want to talk to you. Same thing if you are from Houston, Texas, or DeWitt, Michigan. If you are from any of those 3 cities, please, I am begging you, reach out to me. You can either do it through the show notes with the new fan mail, or you can hit us up on the Facebook page. Inbox me. I want to talk to you. I really do. So please hear my plea. Please connect with me. So today we wanted to talk about CDA, and our guest, Lizette, is an expert in that field. And we met at the Jumpstart Your Success conference from Miss Dickinson, and it was great. And I feel like as we talked, we had boots next to each other. As we talked, we had so many things in common that this just was a natural fit to have you on the show. So could you please tell folks a little bit about yourself?
Well, hello, Erica, and thank you so much for having me on today. It is an honor and pleasure to be here. And so, like you said, I am Lizette Reed. I am known as the CDA Catalyst. I am located in Philadelphia, so I'm happy to connect with you from across the states. I started in early childhood education, just working as an aide. Really working as an aide, and I worked my way up from aide to lead teacher to camp director to owner operator. And what first started me off is the CDA and helping my colleagues during that time earn their CDA. And so I love just going in, working with teachers, helping them to further their career in early childhood education.
I love that. And so we have such a similar path because it was the same for me. I started and I didn't have any formal education in the early childhood field. And so then I got my CDA and I loved the process of it. Yeah. And certainly I have moved on through my career. And just like you, I started an after school program. And I just kept moving and grooving through the ranks.
Yes.
And, but I definitely feel that the CDA had such a great part in that. And you really start to understand that what we do in this field it's a professional field. And when you first start off, you may not always think that way. You might just think, oh, I love kids. I want to go in, because you don't know if you've never worked in the field. And then you're like, wow, this is really a career. If you love teaching, right? This is a career. And so yeah, I think that is something that people should think about. So a lot of programs are struggling with finding staff, right? We talked about
Of
this.
course.
Yeah. So this is a great way for you as the leader of your program to expand the folks that you're working with in your circle to really elevate your program and continue that level of high quality and professionalism, because it's hard, right? You may be hiring people right now who don't have experience, right? And so this is a great way to really help them see the work that we're doing here in our programs.
Yes, it is so important. And I think currently there's funding out there for CDA, right? And so I think it's important for us to take advantage of this time in this space so that people can see us as the expertise, they can see the commitment, and they can identify quality care because you do have a CDA or you employ staff that have a CDA.
Yeah. So before we go further, oh my God, and I'm so sorry. I'm so excited to have you on the show. Um, what is a CDA? Let's pretend somebody's listening to this and don't even know what we're talking about. Like we just thought it because we
Ooh,
know, right? But maybe they don't
yes.
even know. So
Oh.
explain to folks what is a CDA?
All right. And so the CDA is an acronym and it stands for the Child Development Associate. And I want to be absolutely clear, Erica, because I've come across several states that offer the CDA, but it's not nationally recognized. And so I do want to tell your listeners if they are going to participate in a CDA program, make sure that it's the nationalized CDA program and not just specific for that state because you want to have access to move from state to state if you so choose. And so the National CDA Credential is going to give you that access, but also know that it is a credential. And so for some programs, it may get you started with college credit because they may offer 3 credits for it, or 6 credits for it, or 9 credits for it. But essentially, the CDA, which is a Child Development Associate Credential, which allows you to gain 120 clock hours of training, is what you really want to consider.
Yeah, and so I think to equate that, when you're selecting, let's say you want to further your career with college, it's the same as when you're selecting a college. You want to make sure that you pick one that's regionally accredited as opposed to nationally. And so the verbiage is a little different. So people sometimes get confused, right? In our state, you have to have, if you have a bachelor's degree or master's degree, it has to be from a regionally accredited college in Rhode Island, which is different than the national, right? So sometimes the verbiage is a little tricky if you're brand new at all of this. So I love you for pointing that out because it really is important. My daughter, Haley, has her national credential in infant toddler. And that was one of the, that was one of the first recommendations. I'm like, honey, I'm like, if you really feel like you want to do this long term, let's, start with a CDA first. And then there are some teachers in my state or in my program that got the state one, which was different than what my daughter got. So thank you for pointing that out as well, because I have people right in my program that have different.
And you also made an excellent point, Erica. With the CDA, you can earn your infant and toddler, you can earn your preschool, and there's also a family childcare credential as well. And so we do have to do our research, right? When we go into these programs, because some centers, especially if you participate in your quality ratings, they
Mm-hmm.
want to see that if you have an infant toddler CDA, that you're working in the infant
Infant
toddler
toddler
class.
room. Yes. Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes we're like, yay, they just have a certificate and I need a body in a classroom, and not necessarily put that person where they need to be. So
Yeah.
also recognize that as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. So let's talk about, why do we think or feel that the CDA credential is so highly valued in the field of early childhood education?
So most of us consider the CDA as the first step. And so we assume that if you have a CDA and you're coming to us, or you are earning your CDA on the job, then you're taking the first step into becoming more knowledgeable of child development, right? And so with the CDA, we know that it demonstrates a level of expertise, commitment to providing that quality care and education to young children. It's like a seal of approval that tells families, parents, employers that you're serious about your role and that you want to grow in this field.
Yeah. I feel that the other piece of that is the difference between, so anybody can get 120 clock hours, but it's more than clock hours, because now you are starting to think like a professional and you're putting together a resource finder and you're looking for resources within your community for your families. And you're thinking about, how do I apply this knowledge in real life, right? So it's more than just
Yes.
taking 120 clock hours. Because if you have a choice of hiring somebody with 120 clock hours and someone with a CDA, the CDA is going to win every single
Every
time.
time.
Every time. Every
Every
time.
time.
Yeah, every time.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's why it's so highly valued, because I think it takes not only, like you said, that entry level, but it changes your mindset. I also think it takes that combination of what you learn in a book and how you apply it, and it marries it together, and it really
Takes
stops.
theory to practice. And
Yes,
so where we
absolutely.
go in the classroom, our course, we can actually apply those theories to our classroom. Where some people that don't have the CDA, they're like, why are we doing this? This doesn't make sense. I don't understand best practice. But when you start going to those classes, you start putting two and two together and start recognizing and having that mindset change that, okay, now I understand why my director told me this. Now I
Hmm.
understand why the lead teacher says this. And so I also like that you pointed out the professional portfolio too, because I think that professional portfolio, it allows you to speak to what you actually do in the classroom.
Yeah.
And I'm a PD specialist, and I tell you, sometimes I go into these
Don't even
to
say it. I
these
know. Go ahead.
I go into these CDA verification visits. I look over the portfolio, and it's not the same thing. It's like, wait a minute, you say you do this, but I'm watching you do this. And
Hmm.
so it is important to recognize those theories and see how we need to apply them in the classroom, so that those you say those 120 hours, they're clock hours, they're just like professional development time.
Hmm.
It's professional development time in real action.
Yeah. I think too, it's so important to be a reflective educator. And that's where you learn, that's where it started,
Okay.
right? That's where it
Yes.
started, right? That to me, I became obsessed with our field. I
Yes.
can't lie. It really did start with the CDA, and I became obsessed because as I started to take these courses, I'm like, wow, this is not, like you said, best practice, but what did it mean to me as an
Mm-hmm.
individual person, as an
Mm-hmm.
individual teacher? My reflection paper is not going to look the same as yours, right? And it shouldn't, but it really helps
Absolutely
you.
not.
It definitely helps you start to identify who you are as a teacher or a leader, right? Because there may be some folks here who are thinking about moving into a director role who may not be quite directors yet, and maybe they need that little extra, like, let me think about how do I use this in my program. And
Yes.
so that reflective piece is always one of my favorite takeaways from the process.
Yes, and it starts us. I like to tell my students that an intentional teacher is a reflective teacher. And reflecting begins in the CDA process. And all we need to do is transfer that over into our day to day, because we need to be reflective teachers in our classroom. So we should be reflecting on our lesson plans, we should be reflecting on strategies, and it all starts with that CDA.
Yeah. And so, this channel is really designed for childcare directors like you, like me. Like, we're real people. Like, we really run our programs. We really understand the day-to-day of what you're struggling with. And every conversation is around, I can't find good quality staff, right? You might have to make them. You might have to support them. Not might, you have to support them, right? So when you have, and not even just entry level, because I've met in my experience people who've been in the field a really long time, and they'll do PD, but that's all they've ever done. It's like, I just do
Mm-hmm.
PD, 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 PD. That's great. But how are you using that to professionalize yourself and move up the career ladder, right? And we all want to make more money. You have to also put in the work. You have to put in the effort to do that. When you go to your director and say, hey, I want a raise, right? You also have to show, like, here's why I am worth more. And I know some people are not going to like what I have to say, but we're real, right? We're real people. We're going to talk real,
I like it.
right? We're going to talk real. Like, why are you worth more to me? Because
That's right.
sometimes when people are there a long time, they get complacent, they get lazy, they don't push themselves forward, right? So I think that this is a great way to show that you are committed to providing high quality in your program. It's a
Yes.
it's a great way to do that. So I think that that is
And then
important.
incorporating it sooner, right? Sometimes we need to incorporate processes from the CDA into our hiring practices, into our annual performances as well, so that our employees recognize that it's not just one and done with the CDA, that this is continuum, and this is continuum, and this is how I'm adding it in to our practices and our policies at our programs
That's
as
why you got
well.
to renew it. That's why you have to renew it, right? You can't take it 10 years ago and like that's not best practice. So we talk about, the importance of having a credential. How can it enhance the professional credibility and reputation within the industry?
Ooh, that's a great question. And so again, I go back to our nationally recognized standards for competencies in early childhood education. What some people do not realize is that the CDA is also connected to our NACE standards as well. And so most people would like to get NACE accredited. And so, even just thinking about credibility, once you go through your quality rating standards, once you want to become NACE accredited, you have to show that you have creditable people in your childcare business and that you're not just bringing cousin Sally in who cares for children or babysits. No, you're bringing in people that have credentials that can enhance your program through that credibility. It gives employers and parents alike, they see that you're trusted, they see that you're knowledgeable, and that they see that you're a professional in the industry. And so when we're out there at these protests talking about more money, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about the first step, and that's to be credible.
Yeah.
It's no longer just having your high school diploma and coming into the business.
Yeah.
You have to have at least that CDA.
I promise my cousin Sally still got to get her CDA. Ask my family members. So what type of challenges do you think that people might face when it comes to obtaining the CDA?
Oh, that's really good. Erica, I would say funding, because some of them, they just don't have the money. But like I said, there's resources out there now.
Yes,
There's
right
resources
now.
right now.
Yeah, there is a lot.
So I need people to take advantage of that. I also know that the portfolio could be a hindrance because some people have been out of school for a while and they're not trusting their writing abilities. It's okay. We now have Grammarly.
Yep. I was just going to say AI, girl. AI.
Yes.
It can help clean
Listen.
up your words, right?
Yes.
Make those words
Yes.
from your heart, right? Make those words from your heart because, again, as we talked, it has to be reflective and it's about how you are as a teacher or professional, as a leader. But yes, you certainly can use some AI to clean up your grammar if you need that. But yeah, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. You got to take those steps. Yeah.
Yeah. Another barrier is the exam. So I tell people, listen, when you think about the CDA, think about it in 3 parts. You need to have your CDA verification visit that will consist of the observation, is what you do every day. Don't be worried about someone coming in your classroom. If you're doing the right thing, it's no problem, right? And so that's the CDA verification, observation, your portfolio, and the exam. I've run into so many people that's, Lizette, I have testing anxiety. Don't worry. There are tests that you can take, practice tests for the CDA. For some of my participants, I send them out a link so that they can practice beforehand because I know it's timed. The test is timed. That exam is timed. If you don't know it, it's timed. And it's 65 questions. It's multiple choice. But if you start practicing and recognizing the verbiage, it's all in the language. And sometimes we're really great teachers. We just don't know the language that they use in early childhood education. Trust me, we got acronyms for everything. And it's just becoming aware of that. And so I think if you can get past those things, then you can definitely pass the test, pass your portfolio and your observation, and attain your CDA.
So I would like to say to our listeners right now, if we're all in different states, if you know of a resource where there is funding to go ahead and get your CDA, I'm going to ask if you can leave that in the comments below. I know in Rhode Island, we have access to a CDA program where they also pay you. You get a bonus, you get a stipend. They give you a Chromebook to do your work on.
Yes.
They also give the program money, a kickback to have people go through the program. So, I mean, when you talk about budgets and having tight money, what a great way to reinvest in your center, right? So if you
Yes.
have that access in your state, please put it in the comments below, right? Because we're a community. Like this podcast is to help everybody, right? And we all come together when we share our resources and share our knowledge. It makes us stronger. So,
Yes.
please don't think that, we think we know it all. We don't, right?
No.
We're all here to help each other and support each other, which is why this is going to be a number one podcast in the country. It's going to be. I'm going to
Yes.
will it, girl. I'm going to will it. We're going to
Yes.
manifest it. But, I want the best of the best in the country, and we're going to have these real conversations because we're all struggling with the same things. I come on day after day and I share what I know, but I don't think I know everything. And so
Right.
that's why I have great people like you come on the show, share a little bit, and we have so many things in common, but to share what is going on in our states. And then that makes us stronger because when you advocate, like you said, when you're advocating, you can say, hey, look, this is what they're doing in Philadelphia, or here's what they're doing in, Houston, Texas, right? And sharing that with your stakeholders in your state. And the states all share and they all talk. And then when you have that federal movement, that's how come we're getting the money that we're getting now and getting the support we're getting now. Because I know nobody paid for my CDA. Did they pay for yours?
No, wait,
No.
wait. I gotta be honest. Wait a second, Erica.
All right.
Guess what? You know what? At the same time that I went back for the CDA, I was in an associate's program.
Okay.
And the only reason why I went back for the CDA was so that I could get that $600 bonus
Good for you.
that my center was offering. And
Okay.
so
Okay. Well, I mean, I've been doing this a long time. So I will tell you 20 years ago, nobody was giving any money or any stipends or anything. So the folks that have the opportunity now, absolutely grab it. But I didn't have that benefit. So I think it's really important that we tap into those resources.
That's
A
right.
lot of people advocated for that money to help support you. Yeah, I'm talking to you, and your team, right? And
Yes.
so this is a great way.
And you know what, Erica?
Yeah.
If we don't use the funding available, we lose it.
Yes.
And so that's why we have to cultivate our team so that they know and that they can be prepared to go into these CDA programs with the mindset that they can achieve it.
Yes. We're here to tell you right now you can.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
So I have three more things. Our time is going to go by so fast. I have three more things I really want to touch on. The first is, since you are a CDA specialist expert, can you go through the steps of, I know what the steps are, but go through the steps that somebody would do to get their CDA credential?
And so first you want to find are you starting from the beginning?
Right from the beginning. Let's pretend we're talking to folks that have never heard of it before. Don't know what to do.
Okay. And so we want to research a CDA program. Like we talked about earlier, we want it to be creditable. And so we want this program to offer at least 120 clock hours because you're going to need that letter at the end of the program to add to your professional portfolio. Okay. So I tell people, make sure you find the right program. Now, there's plenty of programs online now as well. So it doesn't necessarily have to be in person. Next thing you want to do is make sure that you have your components ready for your professional portfolio. There's first aid and CPR that cannot be expired. So it does have to be a recent first aid and CPR. You have to have those 6 competency statements in your professional portfolio binder. That's very important as well. You want to have all your resources together because at the end of this class, like I said, you are going to go through that process of having a CDA verification visit. Now, also remember that once you complete your class, you need to at least have a working email address. You need to have that beforehand, honestly. I tell people you need to have a working email address and you need to talk to your director. Do not leave your director out of the process at all. You need to start with that actually, because they are going to be the ones to give you permission to have that CDA verification visit on site. And so you need to be in good standing with your director as well. Also, I want to make sure that you have the email address, your ID. If your ID is expired, they will not let you take the CDA exam and they will not allow you to go forth with your verification visit. So make sure that your ID is not expired. But this is the most important thing. Be comfortable with using technology. Why do I say that? Because you're going to need to go onto the CDA Council's dashboard and work through this whole process. So once you complete your CDA, you're going to need to go onto the dashboard to do what? To complete an application. All right. So once you complete your 120 clock hours, you go onto the dashboard to complete the application. You need a PD specialist. So it will be nice if that CDA program that you attend, if they can refer you to a PD specialist as well. I always tell people to try to find a PD specialist that is in your area of the center that you're located, because then it's easy access for them to get to. Right. When we have weather, I'm in Philadelphia, so sometimes we have snow and things of that sort. And so it's easy if they're in the same zip code, then it's easy for them to get to for you as well. And so along with your application, this is where your funding is going to become important as well, because sometimes there's a wait time because you need a code. This code is going to pay for your CDA.
Yeah.
That application fee is $450, and I believe it's $475 if you do it on paper. That's why I'm telling you, get comfortable with technology because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Keep it flowing.
Goodness, what was I? So the application, again, your PD specialist is going to reach out to you. And so that means that you need to have the correct number and the correct email address, because they could be reaching out to you and you have missed the number in the application. And then you're wondering why you're waiting. So make sure all your information in the dashboard is correct. Also, keep an eye out on your dashboard. There's important things afterwards, like you can't miss your appointment for your CDA verification visit. Why? Because the next visit may be on you. Right? You might have to pay out of pocket $25.
Yeah.
And so it's important to keep those visits. And I just think I took you through the whole process, but I want you to remember this too, terminology. Sometimes I would send my students the terminology that they will hear throughout the program so that they don't become discouraged with hearing these different words that they may not be used to hearing. So terminology is important, and please get the books. Your PD specialist needs that scoring tool in the back of the preschool book and the infant toddler book. And some of those documents in there need to go in your professional portfolio. Yep. So you need to purchase the books. And some programs pay for the books too. Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. So I love that you said, for the staff to look for their directors and have the directors be part of it. So what I'm going to say to all the directors that are listening out here, you need to grab a hold of your staff and say, look, here is where you're at. Your personal professional development plan that we have for you on our program, because we're all about growing our team. This is what is the next step for you. Here is what it entails. Here's where the money is going to come from. Here is if you need to hold their hand, then you need to hold their hand, and yes, you need to help them. Obviously you want to make sure that they are on board, but get them excited about it, because if you're excited about it, they're also going to be excited about it. I have
check in with them. Yes.
Yeah, I have 5 girls right now who are working on their CDA. 5 girls. Yeah. and they're pretty excited about it. And I love the other thing is they're working on it together.
Community.
Community. I mean, come
Yes.
on, guys. So let's get with it. If we're great leaders, this should be happening in everybody's centers. If you want talented teachers, you want high quality program, and you're not supporting your staff at this level, especially the entry level, you're never going to get those top tier teachers. You're just not. So I think that that's really important. So
And I
before,
like that, Erica.
yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
I love that you were talking about the top tier teachers because sometimes we want to promote from within, right? So we want to cultivate those that earn their CDAs so that they become our lead teachers. They become our admins because when there are lead teachers, when there are admins, they have that experience, that classroom experience, right? And so then we can bring in new people and cultivate them, and it can be this transition, this journey for our childcare instead of just being a revolving door.
Yeah, no.
And so,
yeah,
I don't know.
Definitely not. Definitely not. So before we wrap it up, I want to give you an opportunity to talk about anything you think I missed on today's episode.
You know what? No, Erica, we talked about so much. I love that I like to focus on the professional portfolio. I created a binder because I think it's just the easiest. It's the easiest way to attain your CDA. When you think about those 3 components that you need to pass the CDA. And so I really focused on the professional portfolio. I've created tabs. It's like a guide. You can take it to class with you.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. You did a great job. Do you have one? Do you have one there? Can you show them? Because we got the benefit of video as well. I know those on the podcast can't hear, but on our YouTube channel. And if you've never went over there, you need to go on over to the YouTube channel. But it is really a beautiful binder. The tabs are great. Yeah, my daughter's like, oh, I wish I had this when I first started. She really loved the printed tabs, and again, that level of professionalism. It was just that extra notch. So you started your own company, Diapers to Destiny.
Yes, I started. I started my own company, Diapers to Destiny, while owning and operating my child care center because I wanted to work with teachers and show them how to have style. And not style as in look good, but style as in standards that yield learning excellence through the CDA. That the CDA can and will, if utilized in the correct way, give you the enhancement that you need in quality that you need in your classrooms. And so that's why I created the binder and the company Diapers to Destiny, because guess what? I started changing diapers. And so the CDA has taken me so far. Like I've owned my own childcare. I've worked at a manager of workforce. And so that's why I'm also passionate about this, because it doesn't have to be the stopping place. You never know where the CDA can take you and what it can afford you. And you're thinking small with I started in the field making $5.25. And so
all the way to your own CEO. So we got some exciting news. So Lizette has her website. I will put it in the links below. If you'd like to purchase her resource binder for your CDA, again, tap into that money in your state. Don't have to pay out of your pocket. Tap into that money in your state and get this resource binder. It'll save you a lot of time putting together one from scratch. It's very, very professional looking. Lizette is going to give us a code.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have a code already, sweetie?
No, I have to. I'm so sorry.
Okay,
we have to send you the code.
That's okay. So we'll have a podcast code for you down in our links below, so that if you're interested, you can purchase that. You'll know that it came from our show, from our awesome, amazing listeners, who, again, because we are a community. We're a community. We all need to support each other. And so I love that not only are you a teacher, not only are you a professor, not only are you a childcare owner, but you are an entrepreneur. And that, to me, people know me. That's my heart. So I am all about supporting other women in business. So, and I hope And most of you I know are, because most of you are women in your own businesses. I think that that's really important that we support each other. So we will have a code in the links below. And what I wanted to say also is we have an affiliate page. So we'll add you on our affiliate page as well on Buzzsprouts, along with our friends at thrivingchildcare.com. My girl, Adria Brad, I love her. Adrian, she gets mad when I say it that way, but
Rocky.
yeah, right. She's like, I hate that joke. Again, thank you guys so much for listening. We really, really, really appreciate your support and helping us grow. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit that button, subscribe here, there, anywhere. It doesn't matter. Hit the subscribe button. If you're listening, especially if you are my friends from Land O'Lakes, Wisconsin, I need to talk to you. Yeah, that's it. I mean, thank you so much for being a great guest and bringing all your knowledge to our show. And for you listening out there today, remember it's the small details that make a big impact in the success of your childcare business. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day as always. Bye.